What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Tim's Sports Talk, and we got skins in the game. We got J-Dubs in the house with us. How you doing today, J-Dubs?
Doing good. Hold on, I got some kind of background. Hold on.
Oh, Lord. We don't hear it, though. That's good. I'll talk to the chat. What up, Bod? Bob was in the first in the chat. Red Ball Mander's in the house. What's up, man? Dan the Man Snyder ain't selling. That's actually good. Actually, I'm about to create a poll on that. Let's create a poll. Will Dan sell? Yes or no? Oops. You vote on this. Will Dan sell? There are only 3 scenarios I can see where the Dan would sell. Uh-oh. One, his wife is sick of it. True. 2, legal issues. True. 3, owners tell him to take a hike. Yeah, I don't think he's just going to sell willy-nilly. What up, Hassan? Commander's Country? Let's ride. Anyway, all right, we got some people in the house. You all better over there, J-Dubs?
I'm good. Life is good. How about you?
Life is good. Life is good.
Every day above ground is a good day.
It is. All right, well, we got some stuff to talk about. Of course, the Dan Snyder news is popping off today. We'll talk about that. Chase Young returns. We'll go around the NFL with the trade deadline stuff. We're on a 3-game win streak, and we got the Vikings preview. Of course, the weekly picks and Waddle to end it. But as we start every show, we got the dad joke of the week.
All right, I'm not going to qualify this one because you say I always do. So
there you go.
So anyway,
I'm starting with the qualifier this time.
I'm starting with the qualifying qualifier. Anyway, I tried to start a professional hide and seek team, but it didn't work out. Turns out good players are hard to find.
Well played. There it is. That's true. Fair enough. Yeah, if you could find them,
you're
easy,
right,
they
Hassan.
would be good.
Life is great.
Life is good. Life is good. All right. Well, what do you got?
All right. Well, I got 2 things. One I just wanted to touch on. That was the first game since 2005 the Redskins have scored twice or been down by 2 scores with less than 5 minutes to go and have won the game. The last time was the Dallas Miracle.
Wow. So 17 years? That was in 05, right?
Yeah.
You said? Wow.
2005.
Okay.
So
pretty cool.
And then the other thing I thought was interesting is PFF has Cameron Curl rated as the highest rated 25-year-old or younger player at 91, ahead of even Micah Parsons is 90.5.
Wow.
So he is the highest ranked 25 or younger. I mean, it's kind of an odd cap. Why 25 or younger?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it is why 25 or younger. I'm not sure. That's a good question. But I guess it just goes to show the young players and whatnot. But yeah, Cameron Curl is definitely a stud. So that's a good find. I like that. All right. You ready for what do you got?
I don't know. I'll be the judge of that.
All right. So, and yes, Mark is in the house. Mark shared this with me, and some of you were in the chat last time, so you're going to be seeing this a second time. Dad has not seen this yet, but this was pretty wild. I'd never seen anything like this. So let me set this up for you a little bit, okay? So we got, right now, Bell is in the lead, okay? He needs to win this race to get into the championship 4. So the top 4 point leaders qualify, right? Now you can see Christine, number 1 here, is in 10th place, and he's now minus 2 points back from getting into the final 4. Right? And Hamlin is ahead of him. He's in 5th place. So he's got to jump some crazy amounts of spots. And this is the final lap of the race. All right? He's about to go around the final turn. And he usually, you're 2, 3, like a second and a half behind 7th place. There's no way you're going to make a comeback on the final turn like this. But here is what happens. Take a look at what he does. Look at this number 1. He full-fledged goes into the wall and passes 3 or 4 dudes at the end and takes the 3rd spot in the race.
Wow. So
Watch
he
it one more time.
He intentionally drove into the wall.
Yes.
I don't know why you would do that, but I guess.
Watch this one more time. Look, he just full-fledged goes into the wall and passes a bunch of people to win, or not to win the race. He doesn't win the race, but he gets into the final 4
So he did
of it.
that. I'm sure he did full throttle and
Yep.
just that. So he probably didn't drive into the wall intentionally. It was just I hit the full throttle, which took him into the wall, and then he just kept the throttle down. And
No, he had to have
that's
he had to have done it intentionally. Because yeah, this is a smaller track. It's not like Daytona where you could full-fledge it and get around one of those big turns. Like, this is a much smaller track. They were going around in only, I mean, it was only taking them like maybe 20, 30 seconds a lap. Like, it was much faster than the standard.
Well, and I guess what
Big
it
for
depends
track.
on what you mean by intentionally going into the wall. By flooring it, you could argue that he was intentionally going into the wall, but I think it could also be argued that he knew he had to floor it to have a chance. So
Mhm.
I'm just flooring it, and whatever happens, happens, and he ran into the wall.
I
But
think he
that's
did it on
crazy.
purpose. Do you think it should be outlawed? Because now, what if you have every final lap, just everybody's full-fledging it into the wall?
Um, I don't know how you could make that illegal, but I mean, I get your point.
Well, you
But
just don't. If you do it on the, if you run into the final lap, you don't gain any spots. And you could say you
well,
automatically lose 10 spots in the race or something.
yeah, but what if two guys are jockeying for position and one guy hits the other guy up into the wall and they still go over the finish line? He shouldn't get penalized then. You
Yeah,
know,
I
if you
think you
got a
could say.
guy on the inside
Yeah, I
and
think
he
you could
goes
say
up,
if you were hit into it. I think that's distinguished enough. Like, if you're in a jockeying race and you get knocked into the wall, there's contact with another car leading into it. That's not a teammate. Because what if there's a teammate involved? There's teammates in NASCAR. Your teammate just hits you into the wall. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah,
You're right. Maybe it
hey,
can't be
hey,
outlawed.
hey, Bubba, hit me into the wall.
Yeah, I don't know. Commando in the house with the super chat. $1.99 says, play the HTTR song. It's time to celebrate. It's not time to celebrate yet. Let's actually hop into this right. Actually, the other one you got, I just want to continue on this streak. We'll just touch on what happened in 1975 Washington Redskins, since we are on episode 75. We were 8-6 that year, and it really was a disappointing season because we actually were 8-4 going into the final 2 weeks, and so we could have matched our 10-4 record from the year before, but we fell to the Cowboys and fell to the Eagles in back-to-back weeks and missed the playoffs after going to the playoffs the last couple of seasons. So, and honestly, there was not much here as far as it's just our 44th season. There's no real notes of like what makes this season special on Wikipedia. But yeah, there's that. I just wanted to touch on that real quick. But all right, you ready to hop into this Daniel Snyder stuff?
Yeah.
So it was reported today, and the team put out a statement that Daniel Snyder and Tanya Snyder have hired Bank of America Securities, which is an offshoot of Bank of America, like a secondary company, I guess, if you will, within them, to look into options on selling the team. Now, it is unclear whether this is a minority selling or a full-fledged everybody's selling, or they're selling the entire team to somebody else. But the team spokesperson apparently, they didn't name who, said they're exploring all options. So this is not a one, like, I feel like if they were doing a minority, the team would have announced the minority, right? Like, why would you keep it ambiguous on that front? Do you have an idea of why they would keep it ambiguous? But I asked you that question, and also, do you think this is actually going to happen?
Well, let me say this. I read the release a couple times,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately it mentions financial transactions. So, yes, that could mean the team, that could mean minority, that could mean getting money for a new stadium, because they're not getting a lot of support from whatever counties or wherever they're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think that the release says anything that should get us excited. It's possible, but there's nothing in there that says even he's selling a minority. It doesn't. It's just bringing them in for financial transactions. So were they being proactive in saying that because they knew the word would get out that they retained Bank of America or hired whatever you call it,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted to come out and say they're going to help us with financial transactions. That could be as simple as getting money and getting investors to give them money for the stadium. So the announcement does not say anything. I mean, obviously, I know why everybody, the overwhelming amount or percent of the fan base that would like Dan to sell it saw that and went, "Oh my God, I hope so." And let me be the first one to say, I hope so too. But I didn't see anything in there that said anything other than we got some financial transactions we're going to be doing, and we're bringing them in to help us with it. So it could be any number of things. And I know, in fact, if I had to put my money on it right now, I would probably do stadium first, minority second, and team third. Is my opinion. But
okay, so stadium first, minority second, team third. So you're a standard Redskins fan, hedging your bets, not willing to buy into the hype of this is actually happening. You are such a jaded human being in this. I'm just kidding. I'm with you because I'm like completely like I will believe it when I see it.
Yes.
Lizard Luminals with the super chat $4.99. Appreciate you. Says, in my opinion, the fact that Dan is talking to Bank of America is a huge deal for someone as egotistical as him to indirectly say he's considering it is huge. Because my counter to you goes along with this comment. Apparently, a team spokesman did not deny the idea of selling the team outright. Like, if it was for a stadium, I feel like they would have just denied it outright at that point. Why would they leave it ambiguous on the team front when you're putting out a statement anyway? You may as well say, "Hey, we're looking into transactions for a new stadium. We're not looking to sell at all." Like, I feel like they would have been ahead of the game, would they not?
Yeah, but Tim, why do you wait till week 11 to announce your mascot? You could go down the list of stuff that the Snyders do that makes absolutely no sense. Why do you make us wait 2 years for the Commanders? I mean,
so true.
So
that was
such
a great comeback.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, now the Snyders are going to be logical, or that your logical mind can figure them out. They haven't done it so far. Why do you think now? Why are they being ambiguous? Because hell, they probably don't even know what they mean.
Excuse me. Oh, that's too funny. Yeah, like.
By the way, but just real quick, Buttizafi, you're right. He started out as a telemarketing company. He loves being hated.
Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, that is a whole other thing, but yeah, it's definitely it has to be a weird feeling going into the building that you own, or at least for the team that you own. You don't own the building, I guess, right? Because you're just renting the building. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Your building, and everyone in there hates you.
Even going to the game. I bet if he was to show his face to the crowd, actually go out on the field or something, like he's hidden almost. Did you see that one picture of him in the dark? Like, it was the area he was in was not even lit up, and it's like he was all scruffy and he's talking to somebody, and it's like, I think your Uncle Rob told me. He goes, "Yeah, how bad is it that he's hiding in a
no?
The
cave? Lights just hurt his eyes, Dad. The lights just hurt his eyes. He needs it dull in Lucas Oil Stadium. That's too funny. I didn't see that. Someone has a gun to Snyder's head. He's selling. Ooh, why? All right, I don't really hope they have a gun to the head, but metaphorically, I hope they do, because I do think that this is a positive sign. I know you're taking the more, like, cautious approach, saying that most likely this is not going to happen, but with everything that's going on in here, right? You have investigations. Apparently, there might even be another investigation criminally for the financial improprieties that they had. Remember when that was coming out?
Oh yeah, with the sharing the profits or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, that might be a criminal investigation coming from Virginia. Now, that is from a couple of sources inside, apparently, according to ESPN Insider. But there's no. I feel like if you're putting out a criminal charge, doesn't that go into like a record, like a database? Like, shouldn't that be able to be publicly found, and apparently that's not how they found it. So it might be just hearsay, or they may be thinking about it. So the investigation hasn't been quite on its way. Anyway, that was just something I heard.
That's an interesting thought that it's criminal. I didn't really think about that. I thought that was just a
Civil?
like I said, don't no that this was part of the NFL, and it's like the NFL would deal with it internally.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact, if it rises to a criminal offense, then yeah, that might be the gun to his head, the metaphorical gun to his head. I saw somebody very early on in the chat post that Tanya's tired of it and is basically like, either sell the team, or I'm divorcing you and taking half the money.
Yeah, that's a prediction by Bod. I don't think he read that anywhere, but that was
no, exactly.
Yeah,
right.
Wife is sick of it and says sell or divorce, and I take half your loot. Yeah, that is definitely a potential possibility. But yeah, sorry, I already read that super chat, but I appreciate the super chat there, Commando, again. But yeah, so I don't know, man. I know everybody's hopeful. The clickbait titles are out everywhere. Dan's selling the team. Dan's selling the team. Dan's selling the team.
Oh, and that drives me crazy.
Like, it's not in stone yet, okay? So we have to step back and take a deep breath. I know we don't want to. I know we just want to absolutely scream to the rafters. I know that Roger earlier in our Discord was saying that he's about to go running around, or, driving around in his big semi-truck, just blasting hail to the Redskins around in Alabama because he's so excited that this is happening. And he is, a lot of fans are saying this is definitely the writing in the stone that this is happening.
By the way, Mark, I've been saying that for a while, and not particularly with Roger Goodell, but I've been saying, be careful what you wish for about him selling the team, because there's a lot of things that could go sideways on that, with who buys it, how beholden they are to this. Maybe they move this team and we get another franchise.
That's the only thing that somebody else could do worse. But I don't think they would ever do that. Like, DC is still a huge market to be grabbed. Like, I don't think a team is going to be moved. I feel like if somebody actually purchases this team, they're purchasing it to stay here, right? Like, where else would you want to go? You're paying almost $6 billion. You want to have a market that is likely to get you that money back and more. The DC market is massive.
Oh, that's true.
In this area.
And I'm not saying, and listen, I'm not
Yeah.
saying I feel that's going to happen, but it's a possibility. And I don't know, I haven't looked to see what other markets are out there that they could possibly tap. But it's, like I said, it's not a guaranteed 100% step up.
Agreed.
It's probably 80%, 85, 90%.
But no, I'm with you. Like, I'm with you as far as, like, yeah, we're both jaded Skins fans until something actually happens. Like, it hasn't happened yet. That's the point. A couple of super chats here. Appreciate you guys. Commando says JP Finley has organized a parade. Did you see that? That on Twitter he said, like, I proposed this parade. I think it was like from the monument to the Capitol or something. I don't remember where. I can't remember it off the top of my head. But he's like, I proposed this. When it finally happens, let's go do a parade. And we got a nice $20 super chat here from Jameson. Appreciate you. And you say, the Learners, Washington Nationals owner, sold the Nats to Ted Leonsis, who owned the Caps and the Wizards under Monumental Sports, which the Learners are partners.
Ooh, that's an interesting
Are they
take.
setting up to buy the Skins? I think so. So, are the Learners setting it up, or the Ted
No,
Leonsis?
he's saying by selling the Nationals to Leonsis, the Learners are interested. That's the way I took it. Is the Learners
that
are
makes sense.
interested.
Okay, I like that reading. Okay, you're saying they sold the Nats to be able to be in the market for Washington Redskins or Commanders. If they sold that, would you like that? Would you like the Learners? I feel like I heard the Learners are pretty cheap and they weren't great owners for the Nats. Am I wrong on that?
Oh, I didn't think of them as being bad owners. I think they're great marketing people. They brought in talent. I mean, they got a World Series. Then they basically sold the house, with everybody. But
did Ted buy it? Was the Ted the owner when they won the championship, or did they sell it after the championship?
I thought it was more recent than that, but maybe somebody in the chat can help because I'm not sure. But I thought the Learners still owned them when they won the World Series, but I could be wrong. What's that been, 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
Oh, they haven't sold it yet. I think they're talking about selling it. The Learners had been granted the right to join a fairly exclusive club. I'm not sure. Almost sure to be sold. When was this? Somebody else could tell me. This was in June 16, 2022. Did they sell it this last summer?
I thought it
Maybe
was
they haven't
done.
sold it yet.
I thought it was a done deal, but I don't
Now
know.
I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, now you've completely derailed this, but I appreciate. I'm just kidding. Thank you so much for the super chat, Jameson Ward. But yeah, it's a fair point. It'd be interesting if the Learners bought. I mean, anybody is better than Snyder at this point. I don't think we're moving. That's the only thing that possibly could be any worse. We're a horrible losing franchise. We make horrible decisions in the offseason because the owner gets too involved. We have not had great hiring practices or keeping good coaches in the past, where the name has changed, all the other crap that everybody just hates Dan Snyder. Nobody wants to come here because of the culture and the situation. So yeah, I don't know. I at this point, there's no way it could get worse. It's only could be a level transfer at this point.
Mark makes another good point.
If the next owner moves the team to London, I don't think that's a possibility yet.
But you talk about markets, that'd be a pretty daggone big market.
Oh yeah, London's huge. London is huge. I just don't see. I don't see any team buying this up. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I get that, but my point is that shows there is the possibility that a new owner gets in here and then for whatever reason takes the team somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wouldn't bet on it. I'm not saying I expect it, but the old saying, "Be careful what you wish for," they say it for a reason.
It can't get worse. I will stamp that. There's no way. It's impossible. It is impossible. But anyway, alrighty.
Really, Dr. Pig?
What's that? DC market is bigger than London. I believe. Oh, I believe the DC market is bigger than London. I just know the London would be a big market for sure. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if DC is a bigger market. Like, I feel like this city goes from like 700,000 or 600 to 700,000 people that live in it to the workday goes to like 2 million, 3 million or something. Like, so many people go into the city for work.
Oh yeah.
Such. So
it's look at the convenience of, from Philly. Of course, I hate Philly fans coming down, but the reality of it, Philly, New York, the Ohio teams are a little bit farther. You got Carolina that can come up here. It's
the whole East Coast.
Well positioned.
Yeah, like 20 of the teams are on the East Coast or something like that. So, if not that many, maybe not that many. 16 of the teams, probably half the teams are just on the East Coast, if you include Ohio. But anyway, doesn't matter. Here we go. All right, let's go around the NFL. I think we beat that one to death. I appreciate everybody with the super chats. And actually, last thing to do it, let's take the votes. 81% of you say yes, he will sell the team. And that's how we'll end it. So I hope you guys...
St. Louis Redskins. That cracked me up.
St. Louis. Yeah.
That was funny.
There you go. All right. Well, around the NFL, we have the trade deadline that just happened yesterday, I believe it was. Tuesday was the trade deadline, and quite a bit of things happened here. We had, before the trade deadline, a little bit before, we had Roquan Smith, who was rumored to be traded before the season. The GM said, nope, he is not on the move. Well, right leading up to the trade deadline, he gets traded to the Ravens for a second-round pick and a fifth-round pick, I believe, or a conditional fifth.
And that always the kiss of death. We are not moving him the next day. He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. Because he went on social medias and demanded he wanted to be traded. So at that point, you kind of hands it.
The coach's job is safe. We are not making a move. By the end of the week, we have decided to let the coach go.
Yeah. Here's a weird trade. The Lions trade in division TJ Hawkinson, their former number 8 overall pick in, I believe, 2019. They trade him to the Vikings in a swap of picks. And I think it's like 4 different picks they're getting. They're actually getting a pretty decent haul for TJ Hawkinson. But what do you think about that? Trading inside the division when the Vikings just lost their tight end for a significant amount of time. So you're really helping out your division opponent.
Right. Yeah, the only other one that comes to mind is Donovan McNabb to the Redskins. Like, again, not logical. Andy Reid is letting his quarterback go in division. That should be a red flag. Do not buy him.
Do not buy, for sure. All right, continuing on, we have the Bears acquire Chase Claypool from the Steelers for a second-round pick. They needed a receiver to pair with Darnell Mooney. I don't know if I like this move because I think Chase Claypool was a little bit, but if he could be their number 2, I think he could actually be a good complement for not Brandon Cooks, for Darnell Mooney. Dolphins go ahead and trade with the Broncos for Bradley Chubb for a first-round pick and Chase Edmonds, so the running back in the first-round pick, for a defensive end, again, who was a top 5 pick, I believe. I think it was a pick number 3 a couple of years ago. And there's actually an interesting whole ordeal about how this actually came to be. If you remember, I believe it was 2018, 2019, somewhere in there. Do you recognize the name Laramie Tunsil?
No.
Laramie Tunsil was a left tackle being drafted, and he was supposed to go like top 2, if not number 1 overall. And like an hour before the draft, his stepdad, who he got in a fight with, like a physical fight, because apparently he put his hands on his mom or something. I don't know. It was crazy. Ends up releasing a video of him with a gas mask on, smoking marijuana an hour before the draft, and just posted it on Twitter. And it caused him to fall in the draft. Well, Miami ends up getting him instead at pick like number 9 or number 8 or 9. Well, they used Laramie Tunsil a couple of years later to then trade Houston for a couple of first-round picks, got the number 3 overall pick, traded down in the draft to San Francisco, that pick where they ended up getting Trey Lance. Then they traded back up to pick number 6, I believe it was, to get Jalen Waddle, who's been absolutely killing it. Then when they traded back, they also got another first-round pick, of course, from San Francisco. They used those picks to trade for Tyreek Hill, so they have a tremendous wide receiver duo now, and they used another first-round pick that they acquired from all of that to now get Bradley Chubb in this ordeal. So it's actually a kind of crazy turn of events to how Bradley Chubb ended up on the Dolphins. And the Dolphins are poised. I believe they're 5-3 right now. They can make a push.
Doesn't he have like a ridiculous amount of yards right now?
Tua?
No, Chubb.
No. Oh, sorry. You're talking about Nick Chubb. Bradley Chubb is a defensive end. Nick Chubb is for the Browns.
Yes. As soon as I said, I was like, wait a minute, wrong Chubb.
No, you're good. So, and now 49ers send veteran Jeff Wilson to the Dolphins for a draft pick. So the Dolphins trade Chase Edmonds and then get Jeff Wilson, another running back, in return. The Falcons trade a suspended player to the Jaguars for a second-round pick and another late pick. Calvin Ridley, the receiver that they also took in the top 10, is now on the move to the Jaguars. So the Jaguars, I guess, are playing for next year. They don't care about this year anymore because they just signed or traded for a player that is not going to play this year at all. The Steelers take William Jackson off of us, of course. So William Jackson being traded for a 6th round pick, but we also have to give up a 7th. So we're only pick swapping to get rid of William Jackson. We also are saving, though, $12 million off of our books next year, which is why we ended up doing it. So instead of just cutting them and only saving like $6 million off the cap next year, we are able to swap picks and get some money off our cap to get rid of William Jackson. And also, Ron Rivera mentioned in his press conference that he just openly admitted that we had a bad assessment on William Jackson. We thought that we can use his talents and his skill set to turn him into what we want to instead of using him best where he is. But he just says, it was our mistake. I hate the fact that we... go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I find his honesty refreshing. I like hearing somebody just say, look, we just screwed up. No sugar. It's like, we thought X, Y, and Z didn't happen. Cut our losses, whatever, salary dump, whatever, as T. Reaper says, that it just didn't work out. And it's like, well, good. And just don't try to sugarcoat it or spin a long yarn. Just, we thought it would work. It didn't. We're moving on. Great.
Yeah, I'm just upset that because I'm a ex D3 football player that wasn't very good. have no experience in the NFL. Ron Rivera's been in the NFL for 40 years, hires a GM of the 0-16 Detroit Lions. And we wonder why these bad moves happen. Right? But I knew what William Jackson was. I went back and listened to my video after we signed him. I knew he was a man corner that wanted to get into your face. I knew that he would get handsy and get some PIs. I knew, like, what he was when we signed him. And I liked the signing because I thought we were going to go ahead and get physical and try to have a shutdown corner, per se. But then it just goes along with what we think about Ron Rivera in a lot of ways. The Landon Collins situation, playing him as a deep free safety and taking him forever to determine that he's a linebacker. Why'd it take that long? Again.
No, when are you a hybrid? When are you a hybrid?
According to Landon, but according to Ron Rivera, he said, I view him as a downhill box linebacker, basically. Or maybe he said box safety. Same thing. Box safety, linebacker, same idea. Right? Square pegs, round holes. Exactly. Where it's frustrating that you have talented players, you go out and sign them, but instead of using them to their strengths, we just continue to make them struggle. And it's so frustrating to see over and over and over again. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And then the last trade that is worth mentioning is Nyheim Hines, the running back for the Colts, who made a couple of nice plays against us this last week, gets traded to the Bills, who the Bills have needed running back help for quite some time. So there is some moves that happened right at the trade deadline. And let's continue around the NFL. We got the NFC East update. The Eagles stay undefeated, taking down the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I don't believe it was close. I have to look it up again real quick.
No, it wasn't.
Down. Yeah, 35-13.
I think it was. Yeah, I thought it was close for a while. I was kind of watching that game out of the corner of my eye, but then they got like back-to-back touchdowns, and it just went.
It went
I think they had a return. Yeah, I thought they got like a turnover or something, but there was like 14 points like that, and suddenly it was 35-13. But I think they were within one score, if I remember correctly. It was like 21-13, and then it went boom, boom, and then it was like, and then they got another touchdown. I think it was 42. You said,
yeah.
So it just seemed like within a blink of an eye, it went from hey, Pittsburgh's hanging around to nope, they're done.
Nope. Yeah, it did not work out for them. And then the Cowboys moved to 6-2. With a 49-29 victory over Chicago. Yeah, that's a high-scoring game. I believe they got quite a bit of turnovers.
Yeah, it was bad. And, I mean, Chicago is a team that's hard to figure out because, they play sometimes – and they got what's his name, their quarterback? That's escaping me right now. Fields. Is it Fields?
Yeah, Justin Fields. Justin Fields.
Yeah. I mean, at times he looks like Lamar Jackson type of, or maybe not Lamar, but you know what I mean, a mobile quarterback that can run things with his legs, and he seems really good. I mean, against the Patriots, they turn it on, and then other games, it just seems like he makes a lot of mistakes, and they kind of regress.
This is my grandmother. I see that Jared says, how do 77-year-olds find these places with all due respect? This is my grandmother. She has a new cheer. Take command and never give up. And then she says, I'm going to do a flip with it. Just kidding. She's 77, but she used to be a cheerleader and used to do flips. But yeah, that's how a 77-year-old finds it. She's my grandmother. That's
I don't try to do flips because I'd break my neck.
Thanks for supporting there, Momo. Then we have Giants fall to 6-2. Well, they still have a good record, but they do fall to the Seahawks in that 4:00 hour, which was fun to see. They lose 27-13. And I did. Hey, you remember I picked the Seahawks last week, even with Seahawks being the slight favorite of -3, I believe it was. So Geno Smith seems to be the real deal, but that leaves us with we're at 4-4. Of course, we take down the Colts, which we'll get into more in a minute. But we're 4-4, and that means in the standings, our division actually does not have a team with a losing record after 8 weeks, which I don't know when's the last time that happened for us, if you go back through.
It's got to be a long time.
But the only other division is the AFC East. The Bills are 6-1, the Jets and Dolphins are both 5-3, and the Patriots are 4-4. So I ask you, who's the best division in football, considering that we are us two divisions, the only two divisions with both teams with winning records?
Well, you'd have to go based on who are you more afraid to play,
Mm-hmm.
Philly or the Bills? I would say the Bills. Um, the Jets or Dallas? I'm thinking Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to the New York or the Dolphins, and then I
Yeah.
kind of
So yeah. Go ahead.
go
Yep.
back to
You're
the
right.
Dolphins, and then the Patriots or the Skins. And as much as I hate to say it, I'm more afraid to play the Patriots, even
Yep.
though. So from that perspective, I think you have to say the AFC East is the better division.
Yeah,
But
okay.
on
So I'm
paper,
gonna do a slight flip on that. Yeah, because I actually had the same assessment you did. But let's do it this way. We both agree the Bills over the Eagles. But let's say the Dolphins versus Dallas. Would you take the Dolphins over Dallas, or would you take Dallas over the Dolphins?
oh, that's a good question. I see what you're doing. That's a good question.
Right.
I don't. I'd have to think about that. That the Dolphins, I think, are better than the Jets,
Right.
but the
And then
Jets have
because I
shown
think I would
glimpses.
probably take the Giants over the Jets, especially with the Jets with injuries and such. But I think I would take the Giants over the Jets. And then I also agree I would take the Patriots over us for now because great coaching and who knows, we'll see where we go. But the I may take the Cowboys over the Dolphins. It's going to be close though.
Right.
It's not set in stone.
They're close. I'll
Yeah.
agree with that. The one thing I will say, and I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned this a few weeks back, or whenever it was, that it's possible that Bill Belichick is losing that team. When you're
Yeah.
winning, you can be the hard ass that he is, and he never seems to be in a good mood. And who knows how he is behind closed doors? Maybe he's a real jokester or whatever. But I don't. I just get the impression now that the team might be getting a little fed up. Now they're only 4-4, so that
Yeah.
there's still time. But if they go to say like 6-8, I think Belichick might be on his way. Like the team's going, look, dude, all your, you know,
Yeah.
I want to say strictness. I don't think that's the right word, but
I don't know.
that
I think they're going to finish strong though, because he's still a great coach. I mean, because they've won 3 out of their last 4. Of course, they did lose to the Bears, which was pretty embarrassing on that night game, Monday night, which I lost a bunch of
I think they took them for
shares.
granted. I think they were
Well,
looking past the Bears.
they weren't ready for Justin Fields' legs. They really
Right.
were not ready for that. Usually they handle young quarterbacks, but they weren't. So, but anyway, I just thought that was an interesting question. I think I do agree. Overall, I think the AFC East is slightly better than us, but I do think it's pretty darn close, which is pretty interesting. All right, let's go to
I'd
finishing
say
up.
arguably they have one. The Bills are number one, I think, and we talked about power ranking, but Bills are
Mhm.
number one. I think they're the best
That's what we're
team in
about
the
to go
NFL.
into. So yeah, go ahead. I'm about to do
Yeah,
the power rankings. So go ahead. So you think the Bills are
and
the best team? Yeah, that's another
and
thing we
it,
could look at.
and then you have to go back to I know with like Kansas City, Philadelphia's got to be up there, but I'd rather play Philadelphia than Kansas City in my mind, just at a glance. That
Yeah.
and then but anyway, go ahead. Let's go into the power rankings.
Yeah, so we do have the power rankings here. I'm going to just look at that real quick. So we have the Bills are 1, the Dolphins are 7, the Jets are 13, and the Patriots are 17. So they have 4 in the top 17. We are 19. So we move up from 21
Well,
according
let's
to the
do this.
ESPN power rankings. What's up?
Hold on, I want to add I'm going to add the points. So
Okay.
so what's the
So you have 1, 6, 13, and 17. 1,
6,
6,
13.
13, 17.
All right, that adds up to 37.
37. Okay, now you have 19 plus
Yep.
11
Okay.
plus 2 plus 4. That's 36. So we beat them by 1, according
Yeah.
to the power rankings.
I thought, who knows what that means, but I just thought that's
Yeah,
one way to
so-
measure it.
The power rankings have us as the best division in football. That's interesting. But it's interesting on how they set these power rankings up. But this one does seem a little bit more reasonable because we did beat the Packers, we did beat the Colts, and we did beat the Bears. I've seen other power rankings where we're still behind those teams even after we beat them the last 3 weeks. But yeah, so we're sitting at spot number 19 according to the ESPN, up from 21. So we move up 2 spots, taking down the Colts. And we just talked about all the other ones. The top 5 in the power rankings currently is Buffalo, which I agree with. Eagles are number 2, I agree with. So I know you were saying that you think that maybe Chiefs are a little bit scarier.
I don't know if I had to pick, and I'm not saying that I think Philadelphia is going to be easy by any means, but if I had to
Right.
pick a game between Kansas City or Philadelphia, I think I'd pick Philadelphia. But I mean, it's close.
I think I would rather. It's hard. I mean, the thing is do you really want to play against Patrick Mahomes, right? So it's hard to say, like, I would rather play the Chiefs. But if we're looking at a full team, I think the Eagles are a more complete team than the Chiefs. But I'm with you. We're grasping at straws here. I mean, either one is a tough
Neither
opponent.
one's good to play against.
Yeah,
so
both the
and
teams
it's
are
close.
scary. It's hard. Exactly, Andrew. Exactly. It's definitely a tough choice. So anyway, so they have the Eagles at number 2, Chiefs at number 3, Cowboys are up 2 spots up to number 4, and then the Vikings, who is our next opponent, is sitting in the top 5 at 6-1, and their only loss being against the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. So there's
Well,
going
and
through. Go ahead.
I watched that game. I haven't
Yeah.
watched a lot of the other games, but my recollection is that Minnesota has gotten down in games and come back in some of their games, and maybe that's incorrect, but that is that I don't is that an indication of some kind of weakness that they're able to rebound from, or is that the opposite? Is that a strength of, hey, we bend but we don't break, but
Yeah.
they get down?
Looking at their schedule, I mean, their schedule has been pretty weak, other than the Dolphins, but I don't think they got the Dolphins in a full clip. I think Tua
was it?
up.
Yeah, Tua was not back at that point.
Actually,
right?
Tua may have just come back in that game.
Wasn't 100%.
That may have been his first. Yeah. So Tua, I think, just had come back. But you have the Packers that we know have been struggling. You have the Lions, who were the worst team in the league at 1-6. You have the Saints, who I think are 2-6. You have the I think they just won, so they're 3-5. You have the Bears, who are 3-5. You have the Dolphins, who are the best team they're playing against at 5-3, and then you have the Cardinals, who are like 2-6 on their record. So they haven't really played very much. When they did play a top-notch team, they got beat 24-7, and I don't think the score told the full story. I think the Eagles Eagles took the foot off the gas and probably could have won that game by even more if they really needed it. Like, they could have scored more if they needed it. But anyway, all right. Well, let's hop into our game right now. Appreciate everybody in the chat. I see a bunch of people going. Sorry I can't read all the chats, but you guys are the GOATs. And I did see one question with Rogue asking if I will be calling the game tomorrow night. Yes, I will be calling the game tomorrow night. Eagles versus Houston, I believe it is. So, yes, we'll be doing the game play-by-play tomorrow night. But all right. So, before we hop into the game, Chase Young has returned to practice. Now, it still is expected that Chase Young will miss at least this week and maybe even the week after. So he still might be 2 or 3 weeks away from actually playing in a game. But he did practice today, not in pads, because we're playing, or I don't know why they just didn't have a padded practice today. But
no, I heard he was only doing walkthroughs and there was no some sprinting. Said the sprinting felt good, that he felt no pain sprinting. But we both know that that's not what puts stress on your leg. Make a left and right cut with a 300-pound guy you're trying to get around, then see what kind of stress your knee can take. But
yeah, he did say there was one time where him and Logan actually kind of got into it, not in a fight, but it got into it like on a play, and he actually had to put some pressure on that knee. And he said it seemed to have felt good, and he felt like he had good pep in his step. But yeah, I think we're still probably at least 2, if not 3 weeks away from seeing Chase. He will have an extra day against the Eagles next week to play on a Monday night if that's where he wants to return.
I think it depends on how our record goes. If we beat Minnesota, for example, and now we're 5-4, and they think Chase Young is good, then he probably comes back for the Eagles. If we lose and we're now 4-5, then they might hold him out longer. I think it depends on what our record is by the time he's ready to come back, on whether or not they're going to put him in. At least, wait, I'm applying logic to this. I could be totally wrong.
Yeah.
What am I thinking?
How dare you? I don't even know. I don't even know. Actually, I was going to ask this question, but we'll actually ask it when he is actually slated to come back, what kind of impact he'll have. Let's just hop in to the game. All right. We're on a 3-game win streak. Heineke is 2-0. It was a thriller, to say the least, in that game.
That's an understatement.
What's your thoughts on this game, man? 17-16 victory. I know you mentioned earlier the 2-score comeback. Haven't seen it since 2005.
Well, and I will say that the way they moved down the field and Heineke getting that first down, running out of bounds, the boy's a gamer. I think Terry McLaurin plays more. You just see a fire in Terry McLaurin that you didn't see when Wentz was on the field. Maybe it's a coincidence. I don't know. But we'll start with that play. Yeah, if Heineke had thrown it deeper, it would have been an easy touchdown. But McLaurin made up his mind he was taking that ball. And also, the defender was turned around. He didn't really get a good grip of the ball. It wasn't like they both had two hands on it. So, but that was just an amazing catch. That was, I am catching that ball.
Yes.
And he does that. I think he does that for Heineke more than McLaurin. What I will say, to go back to the reality of what absolutely drives me crazy, is we'll go to the fourth down. There's 11 people in the box. Let's run it off tackle. Let's run it right up the middle. It's like, hello, at least run to the edges. Run do something. But the offense, I don't know. And again, talking to your Uncle Rob, whether it's that Turner thinks that Heineke can't handle it, or he's just a lame play caller. But it's like, oh my God, I'm screaming at the TV going, okay, everybody knows you're going to run it up the middle. Here's an idea. Do a freaking naked bootleg. I don't care. Do something besides that. And it's just maddening. But anyway,
yeah,
I've gone on long enough.
The offensive line actually blocked decent on that one. It was just John Bates, the tight end, missed his block and completely whiffed and allowed the tackle in the backfield. I don't hate the play. I understand, yeah, everybody knows you're going to run the football. I get it. But you also have to continue to run to keep that mindset, I guess, because then the naked boot will actually work when you need it one of these times.
I'm just talking particularly on the fourth down. I mean, they do it way too much. That's true. But on the fourth down play, I swear to you, there was 11 people in the box.
I don't remember off the top of my head. But
if you look at that play, and
I don't disagree
maybe they had a safety back just in case. So it might have been 10. But if you look at that play, I swear to you,
everybody was in there.
So, or here's an idea. If you're going to run it up the middle, put 2 wide receivers out. Make them cover wide receivers. Make them spread.
Yeah, I actually love that point. That's a great point. Because your receivers can't block and save their lives anyway. Why are they there?
Right.
Why even put them in to potentially miss a block? Because Cam Sims can't block. Watching this tape, he missed several blocks. Like on screens, and like Dax Milne is too small to block. He's not good at it. Yeah, so I actually agree. I mean, we drafted Brian Robinson for a reason. And it's when you got 4th and 1, you hand it off to this dude, and he's supposed to get you the yard. Unfortunately, we missed the block, and I understand it's frustrating when we don't get it, but I actually don't hate the call. But I understand the sentiment. I do like your adjustment, though, of kicking the wide receivers out more instead of having them potentially just get
at least make the safeties think and your cornerbacks think that we got to cover. We can't just assume they're going to run this ball. So that kind of takes 4 players. Granted, the safeties are going to be piling up, but it kind of takes 4 players out of what you're planning to do.
Right.
So, but it's just, I don't know. One other thing I want to say again, and then I'll stop with Turner's play calling, is I don't see him overload a side nearly enough. Put 3 receivers on one side to try to confuse the defense. Just things like that where you watch good teams, like watching Buffalo and Kansas City play. It's like, my God, just watching their offensive play calling and how creative they are and how, I mean, they're a great team. But I think we got a lot of good players. start being freaking creative and stop that. It's just mind. It's maddening to me. But
Right.
anyway, I'm done. Rant over.
Rant complete. No, that's funny. No, my thoughts on this game. I would love to see the offense do more than 7 points up until we have to make our comeback to get back into the football game. Like, it was frustrating to see several 3-and-outs, and it seemed like it would be like a bad play call here or there that all of a sudden you're like -4 yards and you're like, why are we, and it's not even a sack. It's like we just throw that one screen to screen to McLaurin that gets blown up right away, or a screen to Antonio Gibson that gets tackled for -4. And like the play designs were definitely questionable at best. It is frustrating with those. But Heineke, man.
He's a gamer.
He is 100% a gamer. And I was actually talking about this on the channel last night, the stream last night, where like the question is like, is he better than Wentz? You answer that question. Yes or no? Is he better than Wentz?
Different.
I
mean, I think if we had a really good offensive line like we've had in years past, then Wentz is probably a good quarterback, and I think he can throw the ball farther than Wentz or Heineke. Although
yeah.
I think he got back. I think he's got shown a little more arm strength. I know he's talking about using his hips more and his legs, but I think they're just different. I mean, Wentz is a stationary Ben Roethlisberger kind of quarterback, and Heineke is more like a Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
If I have to think of he's not the fastest guy, but he's not the fastest guy out there, but he's slippery and he's elusive.
Yes.
And so I will say right now, in the situation with the offense, the line, the way it is, I think Heineke's the better option.
So, okay.
So right now, I guess different. What I'm saying, yeah.
So I basically worded it like, I think that Carson Wentz is better, but Heineke is playing not scared, where Wentz was playing scared when he was in the game.
Leg. Yeah.
Or just he's not as familiar with the offense. He's not as sure of himself right now. The offensive line is not giving him any favors. Like, Heineke right now is playing not scared. I feel like if you can get that mindset, which it can come. Right. I feel as though, right? If you get that mindset back to 2017, where the dude was a baller, he was an MVP candidate, right? He is the better quarterback, right? But that being said, he isn't there mentally. So Heineke is the better option to go with. So the Heineke supporters were right in that sense. They're wrong to think that he is like some great quarterback, but they were correct in the assessment that we should go with Heineke for now because Carson Wentz is not good enough right now. But at the same time, if you don't put Carson in to get comfortable, he's never going to get comfortable, so he'll never reach the higher ceiling that we're talking about he has. But yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that Heineke is playing well. Who would you give the most credit for the win yesterday? Heineke, Terry.
I have to say Heineke because yes, Terry was a huge part, but Heineke throws it to him. Wentz doesn't.
Yeah.
Right. And I was looking. Wait, I wanted to see what I saw that So MP says, and I agree with this. Heineke is better fit for what the team currently is. Wentz needs blocking to succeed, like he had in Week 1. I think that's a valid point. So as it stands right now, and I agree. I think mechanically and strength-wise and height, what is Wentz, 6'5" or 6'3"? Yeah. So
6'5".
He's much bigger. Is better suited to be behind the line. But man, I like watching Heineke. I like what McLaurin said about him. He plays every game like it's his last.
Yep.
Like this is his last chance to play. He's like, he just gives everything 110%.
Yeah, he knows nothing is guaranteed. That's for sure.
Yeah. But he won another $125,000, right?
Yes. And he's going to buy a new pair of shoes. He's supposed to buy some blue. Apparently, he's buying a new pair of J's with the colors of the team that he just beat.
Yeah, I know. I saw the one about Green Bay, and now he's going to buy blue ones.
This is my hero of the game. the offensive line. As crazy as that sounds, but Bod was with us last night. We watched the film. I don't know who possessed the offensive line on that final drive. They were finally somehow out of the ether giving Heineke time, a clean pocket. Like, it was the final two drives, the offensive line, they were blocking and getting to the second level out of nowhere. We weren't doing this the last 3-4 weeks of film. I don't know.
They got the Colts tired?
I have no idea. Norwell was all of a sudden staying in front of his man. Larson wasn't getting okey doked anymore. Trey Turner was helping on the double teams. Like, these guys stink on film. But they all of a sudden came alive, and I think they were the most important reason to give Heineke time, being able to find, like, think about that last catch from Terry McLaurin. If you go back and listen to my play-by-play, I'm like, he's buying time, he's holding, he's got time, he's holding, going, and, like, it's actually like, hold up, he actually had time and a clean pocket.
And then it was able to slip out a little bit, and then...
Yeah.
And then McLaurin, and like I said, McLaurin was on the same, he saw as soon as he slipped out, McLaurin threw his hand up like, throw it over my head, I'll go get it. And if I tell you, like I said, if Heineke, if Heineke would have put some air under that ball, that would have been an easy touchdown. He had the guy beat. Mm-hmm. He was at least a step. He had to come back for the ball, but again,
and
I'm not
catch
nitpicking.
Was, I jumped out of my chair when we call. It's funny to go. I don't know if you go back and watch my reaction. I lost my voice after that. I immediately lost. My voice was in trouble after that. I was struggling. But yeah, I jumped out of my seat, caught, like screaming my head off. That was incredible. And then the pass before that with that dig route to Cam Sims over the middle to get us to the 34-yard line to set that up. Like, Heineke buying time, getting a first down with his legs. He did a one play that was absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful that nobody else is talking about. It was on that final drive earlier in it where he scrambled out to his left. And I don't know if you remember, he pointed downfield like he was talking to a receiver.
Yeah.
There was nobody there.
Yep. Yeah.
There was nobody there. That was all to hold the corner 15 yards off, which then allowed him to be able to get that 10-yard run. But that just savviness, gamer mentality, like backyard football. Hey! Like, hey! Right? And
it's like a punt, a guy catching a punt that gets under the ball like this, like he's over here and the ball's landing over there. It's like,
yes,
hey.
Yeah, exactly, to get the touchback, and that was beautiful. I love when he got skinny, like the rush was coming up the middle. Lucas did a good job pushing him away, but he avoided the rush, bought time, and then threw it for a first down. I think that was the fourth down. I think that was the fourth down play where Heineke had to escape to his right. Like, that was fun, man. The roller coaster of Taylor Heineke. But he threw that pick that nearly cost us the game, right? And he throws balls that should be picked off at least 3 or 4 or 5 times a game.
Guys are so shocked that it's so easily. By the way, MP, you cracked me up.
Oh, gosh.
Because that was Heineke putting some That's harsh. Yeah. It might be true, but it's harsh.
Yeah,
what was that? Like they were on like the 50-yard line, right?
To Terry McLaurin?
Yeah.
No, 34-yard line.
Oh, I think I'm thinking where he was when he threw it. He was close. He was back a little ways, but
he may have been,
I thought he was further. I thought it was further back than
44-yard line. He may have been at like the 44, 45, something like that.
All right. So he's saying
43.
He can't throw the ball over 50 yards, which, I mean, who am I? I can't throw the ball 50 yards, so I can't sit here and I've never tried that. I'd throw my arm out at this point in my life, but.
Send me the Mark. Send me the CFP rankings. I'll give you my opinion on that. I know Tennessee's number 1, which is interesting, but I'll give you my opinion. Who caught balls on the last drive? Sims, Bates, Terry, AG. Who else? Did Armani Rogers catch one on that final drive? I can look it up real quick on the play-by-play. Off the top of my head, I think.
By the way, while you're doing it, I did want to touch on one thing earlier about the round. I was watching the Carolina game. I had a 3-way parlay in our pool.
Yeah.
And so I did Dallas over, which was easy.
Yeah.
Did the Patriots win in which they covered against the Jets, and then I had the Panthers, and now who they played is Atlanta. Yeah, it was the Panthers in Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
The ending of that game absolutely drove me crazy.
It was insane.
It was like Panthers up by 3, Panthers down by 4, Panthers tied, and then it was like they missed a field goal. Now it's going to overtime. I'm like, because the spread was 4, so it was like it kept going back, and then they end up missing the field goal, and then Atlanta goes down and gets the field goal, and I was like, okay, I'm good because I hit the 3-way.
Yeah,
but
there you go.
That game was absolutely. I was like, oh, this game's in the bag.
Did you watch it?
Yes, it was on the TVs. I was at Hooligans,
Yeah,
the local pub, and it was right next to the Redskins
and
game.
then the taunting penalty afterwards, or whatever, the unsportsmanlike conduct, pushed them back 15 yards, which cost them. That's why he missed it. So instead of being a 28-yard PAT or whatever it's supposed to be, or 25, 23, 33-yard, I think.
Yeah, but he
I'll get
missed
this
the
right
PAT. He would have had the game. They would have won the game if he'd have made the PAT, and he missed it.
Yeah, but I'm saying is because the flag pushed him back 15 yards. So instead of a standard 33-yard PAT, it was a 48-yard PAT.
Oh, I did not realize that.
Yeah, because DJ Moore, the guy who caught the touchdown, took his helmet off, which is against the rules, causing a 15-yard penalty, and it just missed outside to the left because it was a longer field goal than they were expecting, and it cost them the game. But anyway, that was an interesting one. All right. So, any last thoughts on the game? Oh, we didn't waste a timeout in that game, but we took forever to call one in that half. Do you remember that? Towards the end of the half, we have 2 timeouts, or 3, we had 3 timeouts at the 2-minute warning. We ran the ball twice, and next thing you know, we have less than 50 seconds.
Yeah, but when they used that timeout, though, wasn't it third down? Like, I was wondering if they were thinking, we don't want to give them the ball back with too much time. And if we don't get this first down, I was just trying to give
Where's
them
the urgency? I don't even care.
No, I get that.
Even if you don't call the timeout, you're letting the clock basically run all the way down on the play clock before you're getting the snap off.
Yeah. Oh,
That is
I agree.
But we did not waste a timeout, which ended up winning us the game because we had the extra timeout at the end to be able to call it. Like, because that could have screwed us if we didn't have some timeouts towards the edge. And also the Colts gave us a free timeout.
Right. By the way, if Wentz was in that game, I don't think they call a quarterback sneak for that touchdown, the last touchdown. And maybe Heineke, I'm guessing too that they probably didn't call that play, but that Heineke saw a gap and he probably is given that option. Look, if this is the play you're going to run, but if you see a gap, take it. And he saw the gap and he just dove in there. Mm-hmm. I don't think Wentz does that.
Maybe, or I don't know. I mean, I feel like you should do that because he's a much bigger frame. But I don't know. That's
I mean, do you think that was the play that was called? Or do you think that was...
I think it was a QB sneak call. And because we should run the football there. Whether we run a QB sneak or not, because you want the clock to run. We had 1 timeout left. So even if we don't get it, you want the clock continuing to run. It would have been almost a blessing if he didn't get in on the first attempt. Because if it wasn't for Michael Pittman, I saw somebody in the comments earlier, Michael Pittman dropped a wide open pass that he had both hands wide open on it and somehow just let it hit the ground. If he catches that ball, they still had a timeout left. He may have been able to get out of bounds. We could be talking about a loss right now.
Yeah, it was. I do recall that too.
So it would have been almost a blessing in disguise if he didn't get in on the first attempt and get in. But we got in there. We won the game, and that's all that matters.
Wow, Jada or Mark is saying that DJ Moore threw his helmet. I know. I saw him take it off, but I didn't. Did you see him throw it?
I don't remember off the top. It doesn't matter whether he threw it or not because the flag is you can't take the helmet off during the celebration. But I mean that also is going to add to it. If you throw it, like it's not going to be a good idea.
I mean, wasn't he in a good mood? Why did he look so angry? Okay, he did throw it. All right,
yeah,
I missed that
Reaper
part of
says
it.
he threw it. Fair enough. But yeah, all right. So the college football rankings. I know you don't watch college football, but Tennessee is actually number 1. They defeated Alabama to move to the number 1 spot. Then you have Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, and then Michigan. Is Michigan still undefeated? I think I would probably put Michigan in the top 4 instead of Clemson. But didn't Clemson actually make that QB trade? I don't know. That's interesting. And Georgia's still undefeated. I don't hate. I think the top 5 is correct there, Mark. And Tennessee should be number 1. Their offense is something else. So there's my thoughts on the top playoff rankings of college football. But all right. And let's see. What else happened in this football game that I can think of off the top of my head?
Vanilla
Cameron
offense
Crowe.
that was driving
So
me nuts.
Ron
all
Rivera
game.
mentioned in the press conference today or yesterday, one of the two, where it seemed like 10 guys would be doing their jobs, but then one guy would just go rogue, and that's what was happening in those big plays. And there was one play, Cameron Curl was that guy that went rogue. And I wonder if they graded him negatively on the PFF or not, because if you don't know the play call, it's like impossible to say. But I think Ron Rivera may have been thinking of this exact play when he said that, because it was a deep post route to Alec Pierce. And it was man-to-man with Benjamin St. Juste. It was cover 2. Bobby McCain stays on, it was cover 2 man. Bobby McCain stays on the right half of the defense field, or the left half of the offense, guarding the deep safety. David Mayo is man-to-man with the tight end, and he's running with the tight end. Cameron Curls, for some reason, runs with the same tight end. So we have 2 guys on the tight end and vacates his zone and causes a huge play to Alec Pierce. We're still doing 1 or 2 things on a play a few times a game, causing big, huge plays, just leaving their number 1 receivers wide open. And it's very frustrating that I wish, if we're going against a great offense, like, that's going to end up killing us. Because if we didn't get those 2 fumbles, that's also a whole different game.
Right. See
Jonathan,
you, Reaper, by the way.
What's up?
Reaper's got to go to work. So.
All right. Good luck, man. Go to work. Cam Curl had play calling responsibilities instead of Holcomb in this game, so maybe he had some kind of mix-up. Maybe. And also, I don't say this to completely hate on Cameron Curl specifically. I know the dude's a stud. He is awesome. That one tackle he had on, like, waylay, suplex spear that he had on Michael Pittman as soon as he caught them, that was a beautiful form tackle. And I know the guy is a stud, but that was just one play that I noticed big time. Because at first I'm like, oh, dang, Benjamin St. Juste lost his footing, allowed a guy deep, and kind of screwed us on that play. And then I thought, wait a minute, where's the safety help on that play? And I'm like, Bobby McCain's way outside. I'm like, Bobby McCain, what are you doing? You're going to get to the middle of the field. And then I start looking at what everybody else is doing. I'm like, oh, it's man-to-man. David Mayo's running with the tight end. Why is Cameron Curl also running with that tight end? Why do we have 2 guys on Mo Alley Cox for what
They had him covered well.
Cameron Curl hater. Yeah. So, it looks like Jared is commenting, but he is at the beginning of the show, I think, because he's like talking about the handling. That's funny. Jared's talking as if he's talking to us right now, but he's like an hour behind the show, which is cool. Once you see this part, thank you for watching there, Jared. But anyway, all right, I think that's a good. It was a great win. I'm glad we've won 3 in a row. I'm glad we're back to 500. It was 3 opponents that we should have beat, and we did beat. And unfortunately, we could have beaten some other ones earlier that we didn't, but that is neither here nor there. And now we're on to the Vikings. Let's pull up the Vikings injury report. So we have Cameron Bynum, their safety. He did not play, non-injury related though, so he should be able to play for them when it gets to that point. Jalen Naylor did not practice. Dalvin Tomlinson, their defensive end / defensive tackle, he did not practice with a calf. Not sure what the game status will be for him. Cameron Dantzler was limited in practice. He's actually been having a good year as their second corner on the depth chart. So that could be interesting if he misses any sort of time or if he's not healthy. Sedarius Smith was limited. And then Adam Thielen was also a full participant in practice, which is good for the Vikings because when we get to the key to the victory, I'll talk about why that's important. For us, Jahan Dotson, hamstring, did not practice today. We're still completely up in the air of whether he will be back or not. Cole Holcomb did not practice with his foot. David Mayo has a hamstring, did not practice, which means we could see John Bostic more. That's scary. We have J.D. McKissick with his neck, did not practice. That's kind of scary with J.D. McKissick because J.D. McKissick had that neck injury from last year. I hope that's not something that's reoccurring, but so we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, not a good thing for a running back to have, huh?
Yep. Yeah, no, not at all. Logan Thomas was limited with his calf injury. He did play a little bit. Good news on Cole Turner, our rookie tight end. He had that concussion where he landed on his head last week on that high throw by Heineke, and he was now limited in practice. So it looks like that's a good news for a concussion protocol. Jonathan Allen, full participant with his knee, and Tyler Larson, full participant with his back. And so that's what's going on with the injury list. Pulling up the Vikings just to go over what have they done so far. They're 6-1 on the year. Their only loss being in week 2 against the Eagles. Week 1 they defeated the Packers 23-7. Week 3 they beat the Lions 28-24. They beat the Saints in week 4 28-25. They beat the Bears in week 5 20. It's funny that their scores are ending like that. But anyway, 29-22.
Sorry, I just wanted to see Truck and Wick gave you a super chat.
Yep. Well, I appreciated the question. I was going to try to fit that in there, but you're
okay. So you did see it. I just want to make sure you saw it because it's going to be
on my mojo. Just kidding. No, thank you for pointing it out.
That's what I'm here for.
I don't want to miss it. That's for sure. I'll put it up there because I don't want to miss it. I appreciate the super chat. And then we have the Bears they beat 29-22. The Dolphins they beat 24-16, and last week they beat the Cardinals 34-26. So all of their games except their week 1 matchup against the Packers have been 1 score or less, 8 points or less. So they're not blowing teams out at all throughout. And as you said, they've been kind of having to come back towards the end. But what do you think about this game before I hop in? And will we beat Kirk? Asks Truck It with A.
I tell you what, I think that my biggest concern is our offense better be more creative because we want to be on the field. We can't be dominated in time of possession like in some of the games we have. We need to have some offense that's moving the ball, scoring. 7 points in the first half is not going to cut it on this game, I think. But I think we can beat them. I still stand behind my statement. I mean, Minnesota's a good team. Kirk is a stats guy. Kirk throws like everybody does. But I think he's beatable, and of course, like I think every week, I think we're going to come out with a win, but not if we score 7 points in the first half.
Trucker with A with another super chat. 49 says now that he's not asking a question, he is making a statement. We beat Philly and we claim the respect, maybe even Dallas as well. That's pretty bold.
I like the way he thinks, though.
Yep, he's a week ahead of the game, but yeah, a lot of people are predicting that they're already claiming that that's going to be the Pittsburgh game of 2020, where Pittsburgh was undefeated at 11-0. The Eagles will be 8-0 heading into that game if they win tomorrow night. Most likely, it's Houston. Most likely they'll win, but so they'll be 8-0. Maybe we could take down the Philadelphia Eagles, and that would be interesting because if we take down the number 2 team. That we could be the first team in the power rankings to go from the bottom of the cellar to into the top 5, and then if we could somehow get on a streak and maybe something happens to Buffalo where all of a sudden we could go from the worst to first in one season.
I wouldn't go that far, but look,
it's not impossible.
No, it's not. Maybe we get Jahan Dotson back. Maybe we get Chase Young back. Although I don't know what impact. I like our defense. I mean, I'm fine when Chase comes back, but I think our defense is pretty good. They keep getting better, and we get, like I said, we get Jahan Dotson back. I think we have a very good chance against, I think, most teams out there if we can just get our offense to stop being so freaking vanilla.
Well, Scott Turner's probably not going to change. But I tell you what, if all of a sudden our offensive line starts to block how they did in those last 2 drives, sky's the limit for this team because – holy crap, we were so bad to start the year. It was embarrassing. But what are you going to do? All
By
right.
the way, they said something
Yeah.
about the Redskins, the Commanders, sorry, have had like 8 different, I want to say 7 or 8 different combinations of offensive line this season.
Yeah, I believe it because at some point we lost Chase Rouillet. We used to have Wes Switzer. Trey Turner was in the lineup in the beginning, but then he got kicked. Like with the quote unquote injury, but now with Sadiq Charles being hurt, who was the starting right guard off the guard after Trey Turner got benched, Charles got hurt, so now Trey's back in. Norwell's been, I think, in the lineup the whole time. We also have Cornelius Lucas on the right side, who came in for Cosme. So yeah, we've had definitely some juggling, and I think even Wes Switzer is. Oh no, but then we also had Nick Martin at center for a game or two from the Raiders when when Larson wasn't healthy yet from the IR. Had to miss the first 4 weeks, but once Chase Rouillet went down, we had to go get Nick Martin. So yeah, this has definitely been a crazy up and down year for the offensive line. The only consistent player I feel like the whole time has been Leno, the left tackle, on that. So yeah, our offensive line has definitely been a wild ride, to say the least. Yeah, the musical chairs at every spot almost. Yeah, Leno has been the only one who hasn't changed all season. Exactly. Yep, we're on the same page. Trucker with A, all of a sudden sending it. I love it. I agree with what your pop said. I also would like to join the channel, like become like a channel member. I think you have to do it on computers now, or some phones allow you to do it. I'm not sure, but if that's what you mean. But man, appreciate all the super chats, and don't you ever again agree with J-Dubs ever on this channel and make his head any bigger than it already is.
You better get him on the channel right now.
That's funny.
By the way,
it. What's up, guys?
the check is in the mail.
The check is in the mail. Yeah, that's how he's able to afford these super chats. You're funding these super chats to get agreements. Look at you. I see you're playing it.
Yeah. Wait, where's Venmo? Come on.
Where's Venmo? That's hilarious. All right, you ready for the 5 keys to victory?
Yes, I am.
All right. Key number 1 was key number 5 last week. And I know to the Heineke lovers, this is going to sound like a slight, but I'm going to preface this with what you said before we even started the show. This league is very parity driven. Like, so many teams have chances in every single game, and it's been up and down. As I said, we only have one undefeated team left in the entire league. We've had all sorts of crazy things going on. For some reason, Seahawks are right now 5-3. The Falcons are 4-4. But then we have the Rams, Packers, and Tampa at 3-5. Key number 1 is this Heineke luck needs to continue. Getting some drop picks when we need it. He throwing it up and the receiver comes down with it instead of a defender. The right things are happening to Heineke, and you have to be good to get lucky. Like, what arguably the luckiest player in NFL history is Tom Brady. The tuck rules. The Adam Vinatieri somehow makes that field goal in such deep snow. Or, like, you could go on and on. I've seen plays where he's just throwing it up on a 2-minute drill, and for some reason, whoever it is drops the football. So we got to continue with that Heineke luck, and I would love this win streak to continue. Number 2 key to victory is arguably number 1, but I wanted to go with Heineke as number 1. Bracket Justin Jefferson all game long. Make anybody else let anybody else beat us through the air, not named Justin Jefferson. This dude is absolutely monstrous. They're going to do everything they can to get him the football. We have to make sure we're focusing. If I see Kendall Fuller one-on-one with Justin Jefferson, I may flip my lid during the freaking broadcast, because that is moronic beyond belief. Like, just the shuddering at the thought of one-on-one on that one. So that's key number 2. Key number 3, we have to continue to shut down the run. They have a beast running back in Dalvin Cook. This guy can get absolutely loose, but we have been really strong at shutting down the run throughout this year. Derrick Henry got a little bit on us, and then, of course, we know last week they had a couple of big plays. But if you take away those what do they call them? What did Ron call them? The explosives. we are really good against the run. So we have to continue to do that against another really strong running back opponent. Number 4, I see everybody in the chat saying, feed Terry, feed Terry, feed Terry. Of course, I want Terry to get the most touches through the air on this team, but I like when we keep a balanced approach. That is when we are at our best. That's when we had our 4-game win streak last year, running the football and passing at a quite even rate. We have 2 good running backs that can pound the rock, use them accordingly, and that sets up the play action for Heineke, and then get the ball to Terry. But the balanced approach is what has to work for us. If we all of a sudden turn into Heineke is going to throw the ball 40, 50 times, which you never know with Scott Turner. We've talked about there is no logic here in DC, but we have to keep that balanced approach. And then key number 5.
I'm sorry.
What's up?
I'm reading Bodhisattva's numbers. You have to look at it. So, 1, the team thinks Snyder is going to sell the team and it motivates them.
Yeah.
Turner doesn't turn on his alarm clock, so someone else has to call plays. Taylor just chucks it over and over to Terry. JJ in brackets all game, and the O-line forgets they stink.
They play like the last drive. I like yours better. You should have a show. No.
That was hilarious.
Yeah. Number 1, get Terry the ball. That's the game.
Yep.
Yeah. I love Terry, and I want him to get as many touches as possible. Yeah, 10, 12 targets minimum. I agree, but I want to make sure that we're keeping that balanced approach. Don't make us one-dimensional because we're trying to force it into Terry. Continue that balance. Key number 5.
No,
to
I
me,
think you can't.
Yeah.
You can't force it. You're right. You have to let them give. So you draw them to give you that, and then you hit Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Terry's going to get open. So, but let it come to you.
Exactly. All right. Key number 5. I have like 3 things written down, but they're all in the same thing. I'm going to start with basically survive that punch in the mouth that Minnesota's going to have. They're going to have a streak maybe where they get 10 unanswered or 14 unanswered. We have to stay gritty, right? And just continue winning ugly. That is fine with me. But we have to continue to stay in the football game. Don't let it get down when they finally do have that explosive play here or there. I do believe they're going to have a moment where they go 10 unanswered quickly or 14 unanswered quickly because they have that kind of offense that they have Justin Jefferson. They have Adam Thielen, who's apparently healthy. They're going to get TJ Hawkinson in that trade, who can definitely hurt us through the air. They have KJ Osborne. They have Dalvin Cook. They have weapons on that football team. Survive that punch in the mouth. Regroup.
And punch them back.
And punch them back. Stay gritty on that. So there's my 5
By the way,
keys
Jared, have a
to
good
victory.
night or good whatever time of day, wherever you are.
Got to plug in to get dinner. I have a good night and go Redskins football team Commanders. I like it. Just say them all and one. Tim, if the Phillies win Game 4 tonight, then the Tech beat the Eagles. I love that. That's some weird, crazy nonsense things that aren't related at all, but people relate them. Remember that one thing that we're about to get into the pick, so if you want to start pulling that up. But remember that one, it was like every election cycle when Washington played the Packers, if the Packers won, Republicans won, and if the Skins won, the Democrats won. Like, do you remember that situation, like the early 2000s? It happened like maybe 6 elections in a row or something. It's like clearly that has nothing to do with anything, but that was like an indicator for some reason. That's what that
Well, it's funny how things work, because like you'll have a guy will have a shutout or excuse me, no hitter going in a baseball game.
Yeah.
And the announcer will say he's got a shutout going. And like the next batter hits a single.
Yep.
Or not a shutout, it's got a no hitter. Like he's got a perfect game going. Next hitter. Now the pitcher can't hear the announcer.
Yeah.
He's out pitching the game, but it's funny how often that happens, and that's why if somebody goes, "Oh, so and so is not throwing a pick in 55 tries," what does he do? Like within the next 2 passes, he throws a pick. It's just it works that way. I don't know why.
Yep. Yeah, the presidential, the Redskins presidential cycle. Exactly. I remember that. I was young, but I do remember. But all right, you ready to hop into these picks?
Let's do it. All right, so I got 7 right last week. Not the best, but 7 out of 14. I'll take it. Keeps me in
You
a
should have
little,
listened
little behind.
to me. You should have listened to me.
I,
I bet I was 10 out of 14.
yeah. I know there was
I'm
one
saying
game
that
you were wrong.
I'm completely out of my butt. I may
Yeah,
have been
because
five. I have no idea.
no, because I know you were the one who said I was going to pick Chicago, and you said pick the Patriots, and Chicago kicked their butt.
That was last week. That was so last week. You're just living in the past. All right, I'm talking this week.
Ancient history, I know. All right. Anyway, so on to week 9. So we have Philadelphia's in Houston given 14.
Philadelphia, Houston. Giving 14?
See, I don't like that. I know that
I don't either. Actually, I don't like that either. I think they're going to slow. Both teams are going to slow the game down. I don't think it's going to be super high scoring. I could also see them going the under, and they only win like 24-13 or something.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if it's a 10-point win.
No,
but I agree.
actually, take the Eagles
Why?
because they're going to crush them.
Even with Derrick Henry running the ball, that's not going to slow down or draw out the clock or run out the clock.
No, that's
faster?
Tennessee. Damian Pierce.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
fine.
know what I'm thinking.
I don't know.
Oh,
I could go either way. 14 is a lot. If you want to go Houston, I can see the argument.
I'm going to Houston with just 14's too. They might win by 14, but winning by 15, that I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to think about that. Right now, I got Houston. I'm going to keep it. But Houston is bad. But anyway, the Chargers are in Atlanta, giving them 3.
Chargers in Atlanta, giving them 3. Oh, and Chargers are traveling to Atlanta?
Yeah, they're in Atlanta. Yep.
Do I really believe in Atlanta? But the Chargers are such an
Call
ugly
Darryl
team.
Green.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat again to Trucker with a. Yeah, we can always call Darryl Green over Fuller, and he would play better at 60 years old or whatever Darryl Green is. He would play better than Fuller.
He'd run faster than everybody on the field, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, please go get Darryl Green. Yeah, but anyway, my instincts say the Chargers are the better team, and I'm gonna go Chargers.
That's what I got. So we are in agreement.
Okay.
All right, Miami is in Chicago, giving them 5.
Sorry, I just get Tim. Key number 6. If you're trailing, then go down 28-3. Then they will choke the game away themselves. Oh man. Anyway, okay. Sorry. Give me that one more time.
So Miami is in Chicago, giving them 5.
Miami in Chicago, giving them 5. Miami.
Yep, I agree. Cincinnati is at home, giving Carolina 7.5.
Is Jamar Chase playing?
Don't know.
Wait until you know if Chase is playing or not. If Jamar Chase is not playing, I can't remember. Is he having a long injury? I would take the Panthers.
Yeah, I'm inclined to take Carolina.
But if Jamar's playing, switch it.
Okay. And I'll do some more review later this weekend.
Oh, wait. Jamar's still on crutches 3 hours ago. I think you're fair. I think you're good.
Okay. All right. So Green Bay is in Detroit, giving them 3.5.
Detroit.
Yeah, I still, and I know it's based on history, but I still think Green Bay is going to get right. But yeah, they're not right yet. So Detroit, I agree.
That's really stupid.
No, you know what? I'm going Green Bay. Just because I think they're gonna right the ship. Although that might be another thing where the team might be getting fed up with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know.
Yeah, give me Green Bay. I think Detroit was kind of a overzealous.
Yeah. New England is at home, giving Indianapolis 5.5.
In New England.
Okay, I'm gonna make this pick based on your. So now we will have current history.
Mm-hmm.
So Buffalo is in the New York Jets, or at New York Jets, and they're giving them 13.
Give me the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Minnesota's at Washington, giving Washington 3.5. I'm taking Washington. You know that. I do
Yep.
not discuss that. I refuse to pick against my team no matter what. Um, just because I'm a homer. Las Vegas is in Jacksonville, giving them 1.5.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, Las Vegas looked horrible last week.
Yeah, they got offered.
Yeah, 24 to Oford. Arizona's at home, giving Seattle 2.
Seattle.
Yeah, I agree. Tampa Bay is at home, giving the Rams only 2.5.
Tampa.
Yeah, that doesn't pass the smell test to me.
Yeah.
But then again, you know
Rams'
what's going to
offensive
happen?
line stinks.
I'm going to say this though. That's going to make Tampa Bay, the Vegas line on Tampa Bay is going to be 89% of the bets are going to be on Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay is going to crap the bed and lose that. And you watch. If you watch, it's anyway.
Yeah.
Kansas City's at home, giving Tennessee 12.5. This is the
What?
Derrick Henry. Yeah.
Tennessee.
Yeah, 12.5. They haven't
12
been
and a half
rolling
is
up the
way
points.
too many.
Yeah, and then
Kansas City
Baltimore.
will win, but 12 and a half.
Yeah, I don't like giving. I mean, 10 is one thing, but you start getting up over double digits, and then it
They're a
just bugs me.
5-2 football team. 12 and a half? That's silliness.
Yeah. And then Baltimore is in New Orleans, giving them 3.
Baltimore.
Yeah, I pick them. All right, and that's the picks. All right, so we're done with that.
All right, let's get Waddle up here. Waddle. Who are we starting with?
All right, I figure in light of the saying that you do not pay running backs a ton of money, I say Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard instead of Zeke Elliott. I like it. All right, so all we got is we're in the NFC. We're not having a running back. We have a tall player. We are in the NFC, though, but not the NFC East. It's an older player as well, 28 or older, and above number 20. I'm going to go with a tight end here, I think. I think I'm going to go with... Who's an older tight end in the league? Let's go with Logan
but
Thomas.
tight end that's only
No, it's
6
not Logan,
feet.
sorry.
Oh, it's above 6. Sorry, I
Yeah.
forgot.
Yeah, sorry, but not in the NFC East. What NFC? So let's go with NFC South.
But it's NFC.
Let's go. I don't know how old this guy is, but we're gonna go Cameron Brate.
I was just looking at his name. That's so funny.
Cameron Brate. Okay, we got a lot of stuff here. It is a tight end, so we were right on that front.
So it's a East or
He's
NFC North
29 or 30.
or NFC West.
Oh yeah, it's in North or West.
What about a San Francisco player like Ross
Kittle?
Dwelly?
How old's George
Kittle?
George Kittle. Boom! George Kittle. All right, where are we at?
Within 3. I like it.
You said San Francisco? I got the name. Well done. Mercedes Lewis is like 1,004 years old. He's not 30 years old. Seriously, Mercedes Lewis is like 1,000,000 years old. How old is he? 38 years old. Yeah. No.
All right.
Who are we starting here?
Trying to pick somebody that I keep going back to players I know I've picked before. Let's say Chase Young, but he's not. Can we guess a player that's not playing?
Yep, Chase Young. Here we go. All right.
Oh, here we go.
Again. But we're on offense, so it's an offensive player. Or I guess it could be a special teams player, but it's not a defensive player. We're 6'3" or 6'4". 99 is not a very good one. So 24, 25.
And under 6'5", that doesn't narrow it down very much either.
No.
It could be 5'11". It could be...
No. It's under 6'5", but it's close. So it's either 6'3" or 6'4", so it's a tall player.
It's within 2 inches. All right, so you think a tight end again?
No. I'm going to go Drew Lock. Because I... Shut the front door.
That was a mic drop.
Boom! I got my boy!
I think that's a record.
I got my boy!
That was a record. Two guesses.
Let's go! They got
that's
my
funny.
boy, Drew Lock, baby. Oh, come on, Tim. You said you would. Didn't I do Kindle Fuller last night? Maybe I didn't. I apologize. I should have done Kindle Fuller. You're right. I think you did ask me to do it, but hey, I got it in 2. Drew Lock.
Nice. Alrighty.
Well, that's a show. I appreciate everybody in the chat. We got quite a few super chats. We have 74% of you that say that Dan will sell the team. I appreciate everybody that put votes in. 98 people put votes in tonight. That's awesome.
Wow.
And we had a good group of people, of course, as usual.
Yeah, great sense of humor out there. I can't tell you how many times you guys made me laugh, and I always like that.
But yeah, Trucking with A, if you would like to become a channel member, if any of you other ones want to go ahead and do 99 cents a month to get your skin in the game. I named it after this show. And you should be able to, if you go online, like let's just look over here. I'll just do it real quick. So let's go to a channel. You would subscribe to a channel. And maybe I have to reset after I subscribe. Hold on. I subscribe. Then I reset. It should be a join option. Oh, this is... Can you not join NBC? Maybe you can't join NBC. Let's go to, like, Ref the District here. If you haven't subscribed to Ref the District, they have a great show. They're killing it over there. They have, like, a bunch of live viewers, which is awesome. Good for them.
What? Yeah, your Tim's Sports Talk. I have joined next to subscribed on mine.
Huh. That's interesting. Why don't I have... Well, this tutorial is going horribly. You see it on your computer?
What, next on your... I'm open to the 3 in a row chase back to practice one, and it shows me as subscribed, and next to it, it's got join.
Interesting. For some reason, it's not showing...
Well, because might be because it's your channel.
Well, no, I'm. That's why I went to a different channel. I went to Ref the District, like a different channel over here to see if I can join their channel, but it doesn't let me. Maybe if I go to their... What if I select...
Let me try another one. Like, what's Jarris's?
Jarris's Corner. Jarris's Corner. Yeah, does that work for you? Jarris's Corner, if I go to that, you go to the latest video. And there it is. It should have join right next to the name. That's weird that Ref the District doesn't have it, though.
Yeah,
so that's where it should be, right next to the name, underneath the video. Like if I go to Rio, there it is, join. Okay, Rio has it. Let's go back to skins in the game. Oh, no? I can't become a channel member of them? Maybe they don't have the channel members activated. That's possible. But I do have the channel activated. This channel doesn't have it. Just doing random channels here. So maybe... But I do have it activated. Anyway, you should be able to see it next to my name because I have the channel memberships activated on here. Also, if you haven't watched New Heights, man, they have 160,000 subscribers now. They are flying. I'm pretty sure I subscribed with 40K like 2 weeks ago. They are just screaming up the boards. It's actually a really fun podcast. Jason and Travis Kelce are brothers, both in the NFL. But anyway, you tried to join months ago. I don't know. Thanks for the great stream again. I'm going to head out. Have a great rest of your day. You too, man. Thanks for being here. I tried to join months ago. Man, I'm sad about that because I don't know what the difference is. Make sure that you have a credit card attached to your account. Maybe if you don't have a credit card, they don't give you the join option because otherwise, how do you?
No, because I will tell you that's not true because I don't have in my YouTube account. I have nothing associated with it. So I don't know why he's not seeing the join. What in particular, but. It's not.
I also see it on some channels on my phone, and then I don't see it on others. Like, I don't know. I wish I could help you though. Why?
Well, and is it different on? Are you trying it trucking? Are you trying it through a phone, or because could that be the difference, or is it? Or is let me ask you this: this is the only channel you can't join? Like, are you able to see the join button for other channels? Is it specific to Tim's? Just throwing out ideas. I don't know. But
So the
anyway,
join button will only appear on eligible video watch pages of participating channel. So maybe instead of going to one of my streams, go to my latest like short video and look there and see if maybe, because I was on a stream for Ref the District and it wasn't there, but when I went to Jairus' channel, it was a video. So maybe you have to go to a specific video instead of the stream. I don't know. That seems weird. But
by the way,
JW
Andrew,
does
I do
not. Yeah, go ahead.
I do not have a channel. Maybe one day. I just have to take the time and actually sit down and then figure out what I'm going to talk about.
There you go. Yeah, maybe you'll have a YouTube channel one day. That'd be fun.
I might. You never know.
There you go.
I wanted to start a channel at one point called The Dumbing Down of America.
Oh, yeah?
But, you know, like, you ever see these commercials like cars can't fly, like the bottom, you know, cars can't fly, or, you know, professional, you know, they got the guy, the Mayhem commercial with him riding on the outside of a truck going 60 miles an hour down the road. And it's like, do not attempt. It's like, okay, do you really need to be told not to ride on the outside of a truck on the highway? Right. I'm your blind spot. You remember that commercial?
Yeah.
It's like riding. I know they had a little stand for it, but anyway.
Awesome. Well, anyway, that's another good show. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and you can join the channel like Truck is trying. Maybe go to my latest video, the short ones, and see if that is where you're able to do it. I don't have a good reason. YouTube, you know, no rhyme or reason to what they do sometimes. But
hey,
I
like
appreciate
the
all
Snyders.
the comments. Yeah, I appreciate the
comments. All right, yeah, thanks everybody. Have a good night.
And it's a lot of fun. So we're gonna get out of here, and until next time, see.